So welcome back. In the previous video, we saw how to use the static variables. But today we are going to look at something interesting. We are going to look at static methods. So what is a static method? So as I previously explained, that simply the word static means what we saw while using variables was when I use this static keyword, this simply means that this this variable is no longer part of the object now, but it is now part of the class. Yeah, so to access this static variable, you had to call uh, somewhere here. You had to call the class direct to access the variable. In this case, in this class, but that's what we saw in the variables. We are going to see the same thing in the method, calling methods. Simply, a method is simply a block of code that executes something. So in this case, what if? So I'm having this. I will create another method. I will say void uh, show that uh, this. So this I make this public so that it is accessed uh, globally. So I will say system.out.print in a new line. I'll say this is a static method. Simply this the main functionality of this method is simply printing out this line in this case. So to access that one, to access this method, remember it is in the student class. So in this case, I'll come here, say student, student is capital, student, then show say student as new variable is equal to new. So to access something in a class, you have to create a new instance of this class, or you have to create a new object. That's why I'm saying student then new. So the instance I'm creating is from student, from a class called student. So if I want to access this method in this case, the show static, I'll come here, I'll say student dot show static this case. So to print out, let me run this Java demo Java run and compile. You will see that the static method here down. So I can first remove this the show. Yeah, I want it alone. Compile run. You will see that my method is successfully being printed. That's the normal way how you can access a method inside a class. You create a new instance of that class, and then you're able to access the objects or the values inside. So in this case, I created my new instance. I named it student. So I said student.show static method, which is in this case this method in the class. So that's how you can access it normally. But what if I use the keyword called static? On my method, I use the keyword called static. Now, as I previously explained on the variables, automatically when you put the word static on anything, name it a variable, a name, anything. In this case, we are putting the static word on our method. Simply this, what does this mean? This is no longer part of this object, but the static keywords makes it available to this class. Now it belongs to this class. Now you can access it globally using through this class. And down here they are saying automatically after putting the static keyword, now they are saying the static method uh, from the type student cannot be accessed in a static way, meaning this is no longer an object instance, but this is now part of the class. So to access this, I don't need to create this, no need for this. I only need this name up, this name, the student's name. It's called student. Yeah, student. This one here, I can show it to you. Up. and close this. My VS Code is, yeah, this one, the student. Now to access this method inside, after putting the static keyword, I only have to call the class where it is defined in, being that I have made it global in this class. So I'll just say student. This is capital S. Automatically, the warning goes off, and when I try to compile this and run, you see that everything is working as intended. So that's the static method. That's how you can use a static method in your project. So I have another question. Being that I'm having, can you use non-static variables? Like in this case, I'm having a string and an integer in a static method. Let us try it and we see. In this case, being that we're already inside the student and I'm having these two, I can now try to print out those two and we see. Print out name. On the name, give some space. In this case, give some space. Then the age, something like this. But we are getting some warnings. They are saying cannot make static reference to non-static field name. The same thing to cannot make age to non-static variables. So what if, remember this name here? Now we have the school name. It is static. The school name is static. So I will say, can I access the school name, which is static in this case? You can see that the school name can be accessed. Now to explain this a bit more further, you cannot access non-static variables inside a static method. Why? Because remember, this is going to be dynamic. This name and age is going to be changing each and every time. Remember here down, we created a new instance. Whenever we wanted to create a new student, we created a new instance and we gave the we created a new instance. Then we created these two variables, the name and the age, that belongs to this student that we have created. The same thing that happened down here, but this is going to be dynamic. It is going to be changing. Besides the static name is going to be static, meaning this won't change on all the objects that you are going to create. But here you are saying like you want to access these two, which are dynamic in a static method. Remember, this method is also going to be is not going to change in any way, meaning it can't be accepted. Hopefully I'm clear. The only thing that can be accepted is the static variable that we defined here. So you cannot access non-static variables in the static methods, but you can access the static variables inside a static variable. So how can I solve this problem? I'll come here down and I say, being that I already know this, and I already know the class that these two are defined in, can't I pass these two instead here? Okay, I can, but I already know this class, meaning can't I create a new instance and I pass it in here so that this is like it is able to access that new instance? It is very possible. So I will say static.student, I create a new object, I pass it inside this static method, I go inside here, I'll access, but remember it's of type student, that object that I have passed. Now being that I now have this instance of this class, I can now access these non-static variables. So I will say the object dot name, it is able to access, then object dot age, it is now able to access it. But now they are saying my cannot be object cannot be resolved to a variable. So I have to create here a new instance, student object is equal to new. The instance that I'm creating is this one. Put here some space. The instance that I'm creating is this one here. The instance that I'm getting is this of this class. So after creating a new instance, I'm passing the new instance, which is on the variable called obj. Then down here, I'm accessing the object. So when I go to that method, the static method, I'm able to get that new instance. So inside the new instance, I'm able to access the object.name, object.age, like that. Now this makes it very possible for me to access the non-static variables inside a static method. Simply, what you can do is simply you have to define when you're using the when you're using or when you're dealing with a non-static method, you have to define new instances of the non-static variables, something like that, like the way I've done here. So when I try to compile this, you see, uh, hey, we are getting null. OT high school cannot access. We are having issues in this case. I didn't create. I have to create something in this object. So I'll say object dot name. I just created a new instance. I didn't give it. I didn't give values inside. So I will say this is the age, then object dot age is equal to 20, something like this. So I've created my object, I have given it new values. So when I try to access them inside, I will say Timo, then 20. But where is this coming from? Oh, the name, okay, this name here. So I have to give some space here. I have to give some space here. Yeah, so that it is separated. When I run and compile, yeah, you see that I'm having my name, the age, and the school. So that's simply how you can deal with static methods. And the other thing that we have seen today, how you can deal with non-static variables inside a static method. Thank you for today.